Plastic crack is a thing.
I totally am in on the plastic crack.
I think plastic crack is a perfect description because once you get addicted, you gotta have your next fix. Where's the next big thing?
I mean, I guess I kind of resonate with the plastic crack analogy. Yeah, for sure.
I'm just a user. I'm a heavy user, I guess.
I agree. I mean, it is plastic crack. Once you get that one piece, you're hooked.
You know what? There is no misdiagnosing plastic crack.
Welcome to Plastic Chats, the special interviews of the Plastic Crack documentary series. Today's topic is
collecting from a female point of view.
So, let's start the show!
Hi everyone, my name is Guillermo Olivo and welcome to Plastic Chats. Plastic Chats is an additional content from the Plastic Crack documentary series. For those of you in the future, we recorded this episode during the 2020 pandemic while some of us were still quarantined. Today, we have a very cool guest that I've been trying to hunt down for a bit and finally was able to pin her on the camera and on the mic. And I would like to welcome Teresa Delgado or Teresa Delgado. How do you like me to say it?
Either one works. I get both.
Hi, Teresa. Welcome to the show. I'm so happy that you are here. I'm so happy that we're gonna have this super cool chat. I'm a big fan of your show. I say that publicly all the time. Teresa, for those on our side who happens to not be aware of who she is, she's a huge podcaster. She has several shows. So she's gonna talk. Tell me a little bit about your show.
Let's meet our guest.
Yeah, so I am a Star Wars podcaster, and I have three core, I would say, like Star Wars geeky shows. The first, which you know of, is Fangirls Going Rogue. We were the first all-female hosted Star Wars podcast, and that is saying something. And we've been doing it now for, I want to say, like 5 or 6 years or something like that. It's pretty awesome.
And how did that? How do you come up with, let's do a show just girls, and which, by the way, your co-hosts are super cool, both of them.
Yes, and I definitely want to throw their names in here. Trisha Barr and Sarah Woloski. They are truly my best friends, not just my podcast co-hosts. So how did it sort of started because we had seen that there was a gap. Lots of podcasts that maybe had one female host that was on occasionally or was on all the time, or it was just, a couple of guys, 3 guys, whatever. And it happened when the buyout happened with Star Wars. So when Lucasfilm was bought out by Disney, that's when it happened. And we were watching the stream from Star Wars Celebration Europe. Okay. And we were like recording these YouTube videos and then putting them online. And it was really just audio with pictures or whatever. And we said, you know what, we should do a podcast. And so we got our start with some help from a podcast, Rebel Force Radio. That's, kind of how we got out and started building our brand. And then we did break away from Rebel Force Radio to become our own entity. And we have seen skyrocketed success since we made that split. It's amazing.
Well, it's such a cool show. I mean, and Sarah brings a lot of joy sometimes way too much joy
She's up here. I'm like right here.
But that's lovely because you bring balance to the Force in that sense. Because Trisha is like a walking Wikipedia of knowledge. Like,
oh my gosh!
I raised my flag that I've been a Star Wars fan ever since I was 2 years old, and I have read every single book and I have seen every single movie, and yet Trisha comes up with stuff sometimes that I go, where does that come from? And then I have to even bulletproof stuff, and I go, no, that can't be true. And she was right. She's amazing. So
yeah,
the chemistry that you guys have is brilliant.
Oh, well, thank you. And one of the things I really like about that particular show is Trisha was alive when the original trilogy came out, so she's been a fan forever, right?
She was alive.
She was alive, and I have to say that because me and Sarah were not. So Sarah is still a huge original trilogy fan, and she's about 2.5 years older than me. I am the baby of the group, and I was born in 1985. So I'm a big fan of the originals, but my trilogy is the prequel trilogy because I was a teenager when they were coming out. I was 14 years old when the first one came out, and I was midnight showing movies at that time. And so we have this really cool balance because we balance each other out on what we all like, you know?
But
so
you're all in favor of every movie, right? There's not
of course
you don't fall into I don't like the sequels or the prequels, or you all like all of the movies, right?
Yeah, and of course, you know, there's going to be ones we don't like as much as the others, but we respect them all equally for what they are and what they bring to the Star Wars universe. And one of our biggest things with Fangirls Going Rogue is positivity in the fan community, because negativity is toxic. And we all know that. It doesn't bring anybody joy. And there's always something to find from any of the movies, any of the TV shows, regardless if it's your favorite or not, that contributes to the galaxy. So that's what we try to do.
But the Empire Strikes Back is at the top, correct? Just to clarify.
For me, no.
Oh, what? No, what?
No,
What do you mean?
No. Return of the Jedi is my favorite film, followed by The Phantom Menace.
Interesting choice.
Yeah.
I happen to be I love the prequels. I have nothing against the prequels. I actually had a lot of fun doing stuff for the prequels abroad. So I have a very special connection with the prequels. I'm a defender of the prequels and not so much into the sequels. But I'm trying to cope with it. I see it like I don't know if you remember in during the dark times when we had no content and we only relied on comic books and stuff, like those wacky or odd stories that it didn't feel canon, but it was a Star Wars. That's how I'm coping with the new movies. Like, it's just the new expanded universe, if you will.
Well, I think one of the really cool things about Star Wars right now, because everything is officially canon, the novels that are out there right now, they are amazing. So if you're not huge into the sequel trilogy films, there are books out there that are filling in all of that, and it's so good.
I agree. But besides being a podcaster and a huge Star Wars fan, you're also Teresa Delgado from Mexico, Native American, East Asia. But you told me the percentages, and I was like, whoa, there's too many numbers.
There's a lot.
Portuguese.
There's a lot. Yep. Yeah, so I am from Texas, from Central Texas. I'm from Austin, and my family's been in this area for a long time. So we've become a sort of mishmash of stuff, but you can tell in my facial structure that there's Native American, because everybody says that because of my nose and my cheekbones and my jawline and all of, it's very defined. And so there's that. But yeah, I just consider myself, I'm a person of color. I'm a Latina. All the things.
You eat tacos.
I eat tacos. I do. I do.
Besides, let's talk about not just the Star Wars then. We're not just all Americans. We're also from somewhere else. So I know that Harry Potter, Disney, tell me. I know that you have a huge fan base other areas as well, not just Star Wars.
Yes, I do. Yeah, so we're talking about my other podcast, and that kind of leads into this. I do have a podcast called Sabers and Spells, which obviously the Sabers is for Star Wars, the Spells is for Harry Potter, and it's just my kind of generic geek podcast. We've talked about Stranger Things, we've talked about Game of Thrones, but yes, we are huge Harry Potter fans. I am a loud and proud Hufflepuff through and through. No. I am a solid Hufflepuff. Really, if you think about it, my personality type is. And Hufflepuffs are great. We love cookies and niceness.
What do you mean? Really? I wasn't expecting. No, I thought you were like Gryffindor or something like that. Well, I don't think I can show that with this shirt. No, I can't. But let me see for those that. There's the.
I can see a Lord of the Rings going on there.
Oh yeah, that too. But can you see the snake?
Yes. Are you a Slytherin?
Oh yeah.
My husband's a Slytherin, so yeah. I actually have the same tattoo that you have of the engraving of the ring on my hip.
Oh, that's funny.
I do have that. I have Star Wars tattoos, a Harry Potter tattoo, and a Lord of the Rings tattoos as well.
Oh, me too.
So,
Me too. That's
yeah.
hilarious. But
Yes.
besides, so what's your favorite spell?
My favorite spell is probably, oh my gosh, probably Expecto Patronum, just because I would think it's really cool. And I don't know what animal I would have.
That was going to be my next question.
So according to the Wizarding World website, it would be a Manx cat, which is kind of like a bobcat, which makes sense because I have 3 cats. So I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that. I love cats. They're awesome.
Do you think that a cat will do the trick against, a Dementor? Or...
Heck yeah.
That's so cool. Besides Harry Potter, what else do you like to collect?
Disney is my other huge thing. I got married at Walt Disney World, so I go there multiple times a year. Yes, so I am an official Disney bride, and my husband and I are both huge into Disney. That's the fandom we share. He also does like Harry Potter. Not as much as me, but he does like Harry Potter. And then he likes Star Wars. He respects it, but it's just not his thing. If he had a fandom, it would be like mafia movies, Godfather. I don't know.
But that's so when you're back in Orlando, you're basically in hot waters because you want to go and revisit that lovely memory of getting married there. But now you have the wonderful Wizarding World on the other
of
side.
Harry Potter. Yes. Yeah, we always have to do both. When we did live in Florida for a little while, we lived in Tampa, and I had annual passes to both parks, so I was good. I went to both, but yes, I go to both when I'm there. I have to.
Now I know. That's awesome. Well, before we enter into the topic of the show, we usually talk about a recent find, a recent purchase, something that you want to show. Show me what you got.
Show me what you got.
Yeah, so I'm actually wearing it, so I'm going to have to stand up a little bit. But it is my Darth Maul, Her Universe. Actually, it's an Our Universe shirt, so it's for boys and girls. It's unisex. So
really?
I just have.
It's from Ashley.
It's from Ashley. Yep, it's a extra small because that's Our Universe, so it's bigger. It's still a little long on the sleeves, but I don't care.
And why Maul?
Maul is like my Star Wars boyfriend. He's the love of my life in Star Wars.
Really?
Yes.
That's an odd choice. It
is. But I was like, I have him there and there.
I can see a few Mauls in the back.
Yeah.
For those listening, she's surrounded by Maul. And very Maul cloudy, but why Maul? Maul is not a nice guy to have a crush with.
His character is so complex, and especially once we got the Clone Wars and then we get Rebels, and I like a more complex, deep individual. So, for instance, my favorite Marvel superhero out of the Avengers is Iron Man, which he's more complex. He's got a lot of stuff going on. He's got a tug of good and bad. And I think Maul has a little bit of that initially, and then that eventually goes away. But for him, it's the look, it's his voice, it's the way they animate him, the way he was in the films, all of that, plus the depth and complexity of his character. And then one of the first books I ever read, I don't know where it is right now, but it's back here somewhere, was the Darth Maul novel from the Expanded Universe. It was one of the very first Star Wars books I ever read. And so that book was really, really stuck with me. So it's like, I love it.
So you just mentioned Iron Man. So you're also into Marvel stuff?
I do like Marvel too. I love the movies. I collect a few things. I have a Spider-Man up there.
I just got this today to buy.
Oh, you have the glasses!
Look at that.
Those are Tony Stark's glasses.
That's why I'm letting this grow. Maybe.
No, you should.
I know. I can't go to the office like this. I don't even know why I bought this. But
no, that's great. But yeah, I do like Marvel. I like the movies. I was never too much into the comics scene for that. I was more of an X-Men girl. So
nice. Well, even better. Yeah. Because
I love them.
Oh yeah, X-Men's what? But tell me about that. Since we connected, I'm drawn to the vintage collection figures that you have behind you. And and I see that R2 doesn't belong to the. Oh, I see different characters. So tell me a little bit about that wall.
So back here, this is when the vintage collection was coming out. I got I got all of the Return of the Jedi ones. So they're this row and that row, the second and third row. Then I got the 4 of the Phantom Menace ones, but I had to get the ones that haven't been made into figures yet. So there's that one, which is the character debut. And then probably my biggest collection is the Hot Wheels, the Star Wars Hot Wheels.
Really? Which I see some.
So they're right there.
Ahsoka as well, which is super hard to find now.
Yeah, they come down the side. They're on that wall, and then they're on 2 other walls.
That's so awesome. And okay, that pretty much, leads to the topic of the show.
Today's topic is
collecting from a female point of view.
I'm trying to stay away from the pandemic. The whole purpose of this show is to detach from that and disconnect from that, and hopefully whomever is listening or watching is not dealing with this. But it was a flu that got you here, right? Not here to the show, here to your fandom.
Yes. It's kind of full circle.
I guess.
Yeah, so I started liking Star Wars. It's all because of my mom. My mom is the big Star Wars fan. My dad likes it too, but it's my mom. She had the original Kenner action figures in the C-3PO case, and that will be mine eventually. I can't have it now. So eventually, there it is. Yeah. So they used to watch Star Wars all the time, and I never wanted to watch it. I was little. I was like 3 or 4. And then I got the chicken pox, actually.
Wow.
I got the chicken pox. And she made me, so first, my hands had oven mitts on them, and they were taped so that I couldn't scratch. And then she took a plate of pancakes and stuff on a TV tray and sat it down on me on top of the couch, which, I can't really do anything. And she put on Return of the Jedi.
So
and she was like, "You're going to watch this."
You were handcuffed, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
But now you're thankful because of that, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the second I actually gave it a chance and watched Return of the Jedi and saw the teddy bears / Ewoks, I was done.
So it was the Ewoks.
done.
That's so funny. It was the Ewoks that got you. That is funny because George, I think I'm heavily influenced by George Lucas, not just of the career that I chose, but in many, many aspects of my life. And I think the guy is a genius, period. There's no need to, make more emphasis on that. So he knew and he defended the Ewoks back then in the early 80s because he said this is for kids. And guess what? You were also moving forward. Jar Jar Binks was not an issue on your end as well.
I liked him.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with it.
Funny.
And going back to your recent find, every time that I have a debate, and as long as it's civil, about the prequels, I go, well, okay, Phantom Menace. Tell me I didn't like that fight between Maul, Qui-Gon, and Obi-Wan. And that's usually a deal breaker. That's usually, people will go and flex a little bit, and they go, well, yeah, I have to give you that for some of us who were alive, the way you said it, during the original movies. For me, it was like 30 years in waiting to see a Jedi in full potential because Obi-Wan did not show us very much in the actual saga. And that Luke was, he was always like, well, yeah, just a friendly disclaimer here. I'm new. I'm the new guy. So we actually got to see the Jedi in full gear and full action in the Phantom Menace. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that you have to give credit to that. So I'm super happy to hear that Ewoks got you on board because I like the Ewoks. I
love them. They're so great. Also, they are pretty violent. I mean, they do eat humans. So
yeah, well,
if you think about it, if you really, really think about it.
Yeah, I know they were gonna eat them. Right?
I know.
They were getting ready to eat them, thanks to 3PO. But
like, here, let me get this guy.
There you go. So, do you have any type of preference when you choose an action figure? Why those action figures? I'm not asking you to justify it. I just want to know what's the mix that you have is super interesting.
So, Return of the Jedi is my favorite movie, so that's why I have those. And then Phantom Menace is my second favorite film, so that's why I have those. So those are my two favorite ones. So when I was thinking about it and I saw them all, I was like, I don't need them all, but like, which ones would I really want to have? So one's from those two movies. And then the Hot Wheels cars is interesting. I love things in fandom that you can collect that are like a different take on the characters. So it's really cool for me to see Ahsoka Tano as a car. That's cool. Or Han Solo as a car, or Lando's car. I have his as well. So it's just like being able to see them in different ways. And I think the car thing started because at Star Wars weekends, back in the day when that existed, there was a line that Disney did that was Cars, so Cars the movie, which is my favorite Pixar film, Star Wars characters as cars. So they're, actual die-cast cars, but they look like Cars characters, but they're Star Wars characters. It's very confusing. But I have all of those. And I think that's kind of where it started, and then these started coming out, and I was like, well, I have to get those.
Yeah, I see a Sand Trooper.
Yeah, so I have that one. I believe somebody might have given me that one.
Okay.
Or, yeah, I don't remember, but someone might have given me that. And then I have the R2kt. So we know her. So there was the collectible R2kt that's right there. And then below it is the Star Wars Celebration R2kt Hot Wheels car.
How come there's no Chopper on that wall?
There is Chopper. He's next to Ahsoka.
I can't.
He's next to.
There you go.
So they're kind of grouped too. So it's like Rebels, Ahsoka, Chopper, Zeb, Kanan, and then on this wall behind this bookshelf is all my Sabine and Hera stuff.
Oh, nice. And I see a My Little Pony lamp as well.
Yes, My Little Pony is another huge fandom of mine. I actually have a bunch of them right here.
Nice. The new versions. I'm getting those for my niece.
I love new My Little Pony.
Now that we established, that's so good because I have very good friends within the My Little Pony world, and we actually interview Summer Hayes, she's a huge My Little Pony collector, and we have Jenny Surface is on one of the episodes as well, and her show was amazing. But establishing everything that you like and everything, let's get in topic. So how do you collect? What do you collect? What is it that you get? Where you see yourself in 10 years? Let's talk about your collection. I want to hear the collector now.
So I used to be a completionist. Like I needed to get all of them.
Oh.
So I have all the Master Effects Star Wars lightsabers. I have all of them. They're not out right now, but I have them all. And there was a time where that was a thing. Probably my biggest collection where I have all of them are the Galactic Heroes, which are the little guys. So, and that, I think Galactic Heroes is really what started my collecting, because I was originally collecting the Unleashed figures, and I have almost every one of these. There's a couple that I'm missing.
Those are lovely to display and to have on a shelf. They look amazing.
Yes. Well, my nephew at the time, he was like 2 or something like that, and he wanted to play. So he was trying to play with those because he saw a toy. So I found Galactic Heroes, and this was when they were launching with Play School. And I started buying those from McKay Toys in the mall. And I would say, here, play with these. Well, then it turned into, well, now I love these because I love cute things. And so I have to buy all of them. So as it transitioned over to Hasbro, I have all the big scene sets. I have the vehicles. I have all of those.
I love the Millennium Falcon of that series. It's such a cool vehicle. And the Ghost. Do you have the Ghost?
So when the Ghost came out when they relaunched the line.
Correct. So they're slightly different. The figures are
they're slightly different. So I didn't get any of those. I stopped when the original Galactic Heroes line stopped. But the Falcon is at my mom's, so is the AT-AT. But is it? Now I'm like, is it? I think it is. But I have the X-Wing. It's up here on a shelf over there.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, so I was getting those. And then there was another collection that came out, which was the Star Wars marbles.
Of course. Yeah, and you just said that you like that crisscross, that weird match, but some of us are not into it, to be honest with you.
Yes, so I have all the Star Wars marbles.
That's funny.
I bought them by the case, actually. I would just, because I wanted to build the same out of wood and put the little marbles in there. And then that hasn't happened, but I do have them. They are here.
Is that still in the plans, like to have a big display?
Yeah, my husband will make it. If I just push him, he'll make it.
Okay.
But
why haven't you?
Yes. Laziness.
Fair enough.
Laziness, and then also I'm still in an apartment, and I know when I get a house is when I'm really gonna like go all out, nicely decorate.
Well,
so
piece of advice: if you're planning to move, don't set them up now.
Yeah.
Don't set them up, because moving collectibles is a pain in the neck. I recently moved. Last year I moved, and it was like two operations: the normal house items, and then the collectibles on the other side. Yep. It was just crazy. It gave me anxiety at a certain point, but then it was super rewarding to set them up the way I envisioned the walls to be and everything like that. So if you're planning to move, my piece of advice is keep it in the bin, and do the display when you move.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so for me, how I like to collect is I do like going to stores. I love doing toy runs, and sadly though, I feel like Star Wars toys are not as accessible. I can say every time I go into Target, I go check the toy aisle, and it's just the same stuff, and it's not even really organized. There hasn't been any new launches that are big enough to drive me to the stores when there used to be.
We're in a very, very painful situation right before the pandemic.
Yeah, no, and it was way before. I mean, maybe even like a year before. We have this. It's just not what it used to be, which is sad, and I don't like it. And I used to go out to the stores every time there was going to be a wave launch, and my mom and I would go to like Walmart at midnight and have them open the boxes off the pallets because we wanted to get into them, right?
Right.
And we used to do that, and then we would get to Target like first thing in the morning, and we would do all those things. And now that's not as much of a thing anymore. And so I've really decided, since it's not as much fun to go out to the stores, that I'm going to really narrow down what I want to collect, and I've picked certain characters. So
that's fair enough, and that's also very smart, because you're not gonna the other way it can get crazy really quick.
Yeah. So now I get anything Ahsoka that I can find, anything Darth Maul, Ewoks, and then R2 Chopper BB-8 stuff is kind of where my focus is. And then if I see something just really cool. So, and
so you're also open. You're also open to any stuff. But what about Lego?
So Lego is another one of my big ones. So I do work for the Lego store, Lego Brand Retail. I work at the store here in Austin. Okay. So that's helpful. But I was into Lego way before that. And I have a couple of big display pieces. They're behind me over here.
I see Hogwarts and the Disney World Castle,
so
right?
This is the Disney Castle right here.
But it's the Disney World, or
it is
not the Disneyland, right?
Correct. Okay. It is Cinderella Castle.
Correct.
So that one was really fun to build, and I've got all of the Disney minifigures that come in the little bags, so I have all those. And then Hogwarts Castle, which is behind me over here, it is much bigger than that. I've only built maybe like a quarter of it, because with some of these big sets, I like to really, really, really drag it out. So I'll do a couple of bags, then I'll take a couple months, and then I'll do a couple of bags. So it seems like it's taking a long time.
You have a lot of patience. I can't. I have to spend, even if it takes me the whole night, I cannot leave that set unfinished.
No,
I have to build a set, and I'm into Lego City, so sometimes it's really tricky because they're very complex cities and stuff.
Absolutely. So my husband and I, Lego is something we share. We do the modular buildings together, and we have been doing the Lego Winter Village, the Christmas sets, every year. So we have all of those. And so that's something that we do. And then
does that go to Bing's afterwards, or you have them on display?
So the Christmas Village, I move from behind our couch on our sofa table to the buffet table in the dining room because it's around a wall. So I move them, and then I put the Disney Castle and Hogwarts Castle on that table that's there year round. I just switch them around.
But Lego is super tricky. I don't want to interrupt, but Lego is super tricky to display because it can easily break. Don't tell me that you glued the pieces.
Oh no.
Well, I know collectors, and they have a very valid point. Like, you don't want the sets to tear apart, and they glue the pieces. I don't support that technique.
But the fun of Lego is when you do have to take it apart, getting to put it back together again.
Correct.
Which is fun.
Fair enough.
So I have all the original Harry Potter sets, but they're not out. They're in tubs, but they're in their own individual tub, sort of broken apart.
And those are super hard to find now. Super hard to find. But you get first dibs because of your work?
No. So
that was a very weird no.
So Lego's big thing is they really want the kids and the collectors to have access, and of course they know us working there, we would like to buy them too. We get embargoed, so we have a certain amount of time where we can't buy them, and then we can. The thing with working there is that you know about kind of the shelf life of the sets, and so that's really nice. So you can kind of drag out the buying process because you know when you're kind of not going to be getting shipments anymore and that kind of thing. But the original Harry Potter sets, I did not work at Lego at the time, so I bought all of those, bought them all. And now I have, with the relaunch of the Wizarding World sets, I have every single one of those. They're not all built, obviously.
Those are super fun. I have a few of those. Those are super fun.
Yes. So with the original ones, they're in tubs, and eventually when I move into a house, I will rebuild them all and put everybody out and display them. But they're gonna stay put up right now. I've got Star Wars ones, I've got Harry Potter ones, I've got modular buildings, all in tubs.
Are you gonna put them together the same way that you just described, like with that lifespan, or every
the smaller
the
smaller
it's gonna
sets
take you like 20 years.
The smaller sets I don't do like that. It's just the big collector set. So the Ultimate Collectors, Hogwarts.
Right.
The Disney Castle, I did drag that one out for a while as well. So just those big sets. My husband right now, we gave him the treehouse, the Lego treehouse for Christmas. So we've done a few bags of that, but technically it's his set, so he has to be like, okay, we're gonna build again. So
he gets to call the shots, and that's it.
He does.
That's hilarious.
Right now, my main set I'm working on is BB-8, the one with all the Technic.
Correct.
But I'm really taking my time because there's so much Technic in there, and I am not good at Technic.
It's super complex.
Yeah, I did one bag of it, which was a whole bunch of the moving parts, and after that I was like, oh, I need a break. Woo!
Well, that
was too much.
I was going to ask you about Star Wars. Like, for example, I'm a huge Star Wars collector, yet I have been holding myself on the Lego side of it because I just can't. On top of it, I collect Lego in a different way. I'm not a completist. We do stop motion in our company, and sometimes we do stuff with Lego. And I love, for example, the wall where you go and just pick a brick, any color, and just come up with that's more my thing. And of course the minifigures, but
Yes.
but it sets every now and then, and now I just ran out of room, so I have to be very picky about what I get.
So Star Wars Lego is interesting because every set is pretty much just gray. So you have to decide what you're gonna get, because it's all gray ships and gray this and gray that. It's like gray and black, gray and black, gray and black.
That's a very interesting point of view. I've never. Okay, keep going, because this is super interesting.
So I'm very picky and choosy about what Star Wars sets I get because of that.
What about ships?
That's, again, same thing. Like, I have Poe's X-Wing because it's black and orange.
Orange, yeah.
Yeah. And I have the regular X-Wing.
Super tempted to jump on the slave one. It just
have
looks
that.
amazing. Oh, it looks amazing, but I restrain myself. I have no room for that type of stuff, and that I think is sacrilegious to keep that in the tub. Like, if you get that set, you need to display the slave one. And I honestly, I've been avoiding. I already have a bunch of Lego stuff that I should, keep it contained. And that in Star Wars, I know how I am with Star Wars, so I just don't want to try it. It's like that plastic crack. I don't want to get a taste of it, because then I'm not going to stop.
Well, I have a Boba Fett shelf, and my slave one is built on there.
Oh.
But probably my favorite ship I have, it's right over here, which I don't know why there's a stormtrooper on top of it, but
The Ghost, of course.
yes.
Of course. I love that
So
ship. I love that ship. I think I see that ship as another one of the main characters of the series.
Mhm.
And I'm pretty sure you're fully aware of Haslav and the barge. I have the barge behind me, and I'm rooting. I have candles lit, just hoping for them to use the Ghost as the next Haslav project, because we need that ship. We need that ship. As for
I love the Ghost.
We need that ship.
I love the Ghost. It's an amazing ship. It's probably my favorite ship now. There's just something about it. And then I have the 2 different Phantoms that they did that can go into the Ghost
Correct.
Lego
Yeah.
set. So I have those. And I got like the Lego Freemaker sets because obviously it's Lego Freemaker, and I love the Freemaker adventures.
Mhm.
So I had to have those. But when it comes to buying Lego sets for me, a lot of times it's about the color of bricks that are in there. Is it going to be different? Is the build going to be kind of different? That kind of thing. So I have several of the Lego ideas. I have the Beatles Yellow Submarine, really fun. I have the Big Bang Theory scene
The set. Right.
I have the Friends TV Central Perk set.
Oh,
so
yeah, that's a beautiful one.
So I have a lot of stuff like that. And then I also have, with Lego, I like the display piece set. So the VW bus, the VW Beetle, things like that.
You're into cars, are you?
Just Volkswagens. I've had Volkswagens my whole life. That's all I've driven.
Okay.
I actually have a Volkswagen Beetle right now.
Okay.
So I love Volkswagen.
I can tell. I can tell.
And I actually love the Lego Friends line of sets, because there's so much cool color in those sets, and to be able to build them, it's just really different and fun, and it's not the same thing over and over. So I love those. So it's just like, with me, it's when a set comes out, I'm like, that looks different. That's going to be fun,
But I it's a little bit painful to hear that you can't just jump on it and get first steps, because there are some sets that just fly off the shelves because of get very popular, and some of them are, especially the high price, they tend to stay there for a while, and I don't have to jump on that now if I can, because I can get it later. Give me tricks now that you're inside, that you're on the other side. Give me some tricks, give me some techniques. What can we say to our listeners and viewers who are into Lego and they want to get the best deals, and how? And give me some insight.
I would say with Lego, number one, if you can buy from Lego directly, buy from Lego directly. Lego is still a privately owned company. They're still consider themselves a family company, so you are really helping out the brand by buying from Lego Direct. If you're not a Lego VIP member, you should be, because it's kind of like a cashback program, essentially, you know? So we may not give you the deep discounts you'd get somewhere, but you do earn that back a little bit. So that's the number one thing. Also, remember that a Lego set typically has, if they're going to make it, it's going to have a shelf life of at least 12 to 18 months or so.
Really?
So you
that
don't,
much?
Yes. So you don't have to buy it right away. And of course, so many people want to, especially our adult fans of Lego groups, are AFOLs. But that's the term that's used for adult fan of Lego, AFOL. But you don't have to. If you just wait like a month, because your store will get a run initially, they'll get a few more that'll trickle in, and then after the first month to 2 months,
it settles down. The inventory is there.
Yeah.
But 12 months? I mean, I'm surprised to hear that. Like, for example, I spend like a month and a half trying to find the big Hulkbuster from the Marvel movie.
Yeah.
And it took me a bit to hunt it down. And, you know, the moment I saw it, I was like, whoa, I'm not playing the waiting game on this one, because my perception, of course, you develop this sense of hunting in the toy world, but my perception is that this is a hot item. I better get it now, because I might not get it ever. And then we both know that they tend to double the price once they go into the second market.
Right. We had the Hulkbuster in stock at my store until this past Christmas.
I'm talking about the big one.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the thing. If Lego, you know, if they're going to put all the time and effort to design a set, they're not going to throw it out there and then have one run of it and then it's gone. That's not how they are.
Their business, right.
Yeah, they want people to be able to get it and to be able to play with it. You know, they cater more towards the kids than they do the collector. It's like, of course, they have the collector sets and things like that, but they want kids to grow and evolve, and you know, it's going to be there. It'll be there, just like we were telling everybody with Central Perk from Friends. You're like, oh my God, it's sold out everywhere.
That was another sold out, right? That it got sold out like in minutes.
And it would sell out repeatedly. But if you just wait until after Christmas, this past Christmas, we're going to have it. I promise you. We will. And the NASA sets do that as well. I have a couple of the NASA sets also, and they sell out, but we will restock. So they are coming back in, I promise.
That's awesome. What about non-Lego items in the Harry Potter world? Are there any hot items that we should be aware of?
Harry Potter is one of those things that it is a little bit more on the if you see it, get it kind of thing. Because everything, I feel like with Harry Potter, it's very disjointed. It's like, you know, you have collections that pop up over here made by somebody, or something that pops up over here, and you don't really know where it's all coming from, who has the license and that kind of thing. So it's a little bit more like that. With Harry Potter, I mostly focus on Hufflepuff related stuff, so I kind of just pay attention to things that are Hufflepuff, unless it's
I'm like my snake is every time that we say Hufflepuff.
Hey, but you know what? Hufflepuffs and Slytherins make great friends, and I'll tell you why. Slytherins, like, we're basically like Slytherin's pets, you know, we're super loyal. So if they're like our best friend, you know, we're going to do whatever they ask us to do, you know?
Well, that's an interesting point of view. I've never seen it like that. But
we're very, very loyal. So with Harry Potter, it's one of those things. I would say the most, like, the line that's pretty much been the most consistent, there's two. Probably Lego, now that they have the license again, but then also Alex and Ani, which is a jewelry brand. They have the Harry Potter license. They've had it for a while. They release a new bracelet every month. And so there's a new charm bracelet that you can get every single month, and they're not high priced. They keep them around for a while. They give you a chance to get them. So that's, you know, one of the things for me is like the Alex Amani bracelets. I try to get them.
So,
you know, they're amazing.
Just like in any other line, you want to see something solid behind it, because you don't want to get just 4 or 5 items. You're in for the long run, right? Can you resonate with that?
Absolutely. And that's one of the reasons, like, for instance, I love Loungefly, and I buy a lot of Loungefly is because the quality is great, and they have all my fandoms. They've got Disney, they've got Star Wars, they've got Harry Potter. And so, and I know the quality is good, because that's the other thing you run into is like, is the quality of this good? Is it just some weird knockoffy weird thing I'm finding at ThinkGeek, you know? So now that Funko owns Loungefly, like, it's amazing because they have that access to the licenses and they give you good quality stuff. And that's important to me as well. I want it to be really like, I want it to be good merchandise. I don't necessarily just want to buy it because it says Star Wars on it or because it says Hufflepuff on it. You know what I mean? Like, I want it to be good. So that's another part of it.
So it doesn't have to, in your case, it doesn't need to have a childhood connection, because you basically don't have that. It's just you got to like it, and then now you want to get them all. So it's interesting. You took a piece of that plastic crack late in the game, right?
Yeah, I really started collecting later on in my teen years and things like that. I think once I started my own job and I started to have my own money and that kind of thing, like that was where I decided of what I was going to buy and what I was going to invest in. And so that started later on. And then as I've grown, you know, and I'm 35 now, and like trying to figure out exactly how I want my collection to look and what I want it to be. And so I've narrowed it down to certain fandom areas that I like. And then from there, maybe certain characters. And then from there, is it actually worth the money? So I've slowed down on Funko Pops like major. I was buying all the Disney ones and like all the Star Wars ones, and I was just like, this is nuts.
Well, in my case, my kids likes them, and he gets every one of them. He gets one of them every now and then, but the lack of articulation is a deal breaker on my end. I need to pose my figures. I need to have them in you know, interacting. I do dioramas. I like that recreation of a scene. And then Funko Pops, just that, I have nothing against that company, and they put passion into their products, but that is a deal breaker for me.
Yeah, for me, I really like the more of just like good, solid, clean display aspects. And I don't really need to make dioramas and stuff. I do with Legos sometimes, like my Christmas Lego sets, I do. But, you know, I just like them being here. Like, there's a Leia right here, and she's just looking at me. Yeah, and she's just looking at me, and it's nice. And then I have a Cheshire Cat, like right here, like chilling, you know.
Right next to Harry Potter books, right?
Yep, and I have, you know, the Tsum Tsums, and they just sit like this, and they make me happy.
So I mean, I want to ask the question because I have to, but you pretty much answered already. But on the boy side, there's usually this issue with the wife. Like, why are you spending so much on toys? You're not gonna load that room was never meant to be loaded with toys, and you might keep the garage, and that there's this everlasting debate with the wife. How does that go on your end?
That's not existent here.
Because he collects as well, or because you have those Portuguese, Native American, Mexican genes kick in, and there's nothing that he can do, pretty much.
No, I would say it's kind of like jokingly like half and half, not really. So we both have our hobbies, you know. My hobbies are podcasting and blogging and collecting my fandom things that make me smile and make me happy, and the things that bring me joy. He is big into computer stuff and flight simulator things, and so he has all the things for like a makeshift flight sim cockpit, you know, like the pedals and the thingy and other things. I don't know the name of. so we both have our things, and he is super supportive of my collecting and of me getting the things that I want and need from my collection. Also, for anything I need on the technical side of things, for blogging and for podcasting, I feel like all of that's kind of like a part of it,
Right.
If I'm going to...
It's your universe.
If I'm going to review it, if I'm going to talk about it, if I'm going to write about it, if it's something that, I'm going to use, absolutely, 100%. So we kind of have this joke. So in the main part of the house, the living room and the dining room, what I keep out there are things that are things we both love. So Disney, Harry Potter, those kind of fandom things displayed very nicely.
Shared environment, is that why?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so very, dusted and cleaned and, looking very nice and that kind of stuff. And then because we're in a smaller apartment right now, when we were in Florida, I had my own room and it was all just,
collectible
fandom throw up everywhere.
Nice.
But right now it's the bedroom, so that's where I am. And the bedroom is mine to put anything I want up, wherever I want, how I want, so it's just all my stuff everywhere. And he's fine with it. I mean, one of the things I collect, we haven't talked about Disney, but there's a line from Disney called the animator dolls.
Okay, yeah, I'm very aware of that.
They look like toddler versions of all of like the princesses and the princes. I have all of them.
Nice.
And they're on the top of the bookshelves that are right here. And it's funny, our bed is over there on that wall. So when you wake up, they're smiling at you. I feel so bad for him, but I don't have anywhere else to put them.
He's okay with that?
Yeah, so no, he's totally fine with it.
We're waking up and looking at these things every morning?
He has never said anything different, so...
We're assuming that it's okay.
Yeah, no, I can confidently say, yeah, he's fine with it. And it's because he's just so supportive. He's supportive of the things that I enjoy, and he would never try to take that away from me. He would never question it. The only thing we might say is, do we have the money right now for that? Should we wait? That kind of conversation. But it's never the, why are you getting that? What is that? So.
But that's the perfect cue for my last question, which is not even a question. I want you to talk, use the cameras, use the mic, like they say, and talk to the wife who happens to be not supportive. To the wife, not to the husband. Because there are a myriad of cases, they're very unique, but I want you to talk to that wife who might be listening and saying, well, I will never allow toys in my room.
Well, what I would say is that everyone has their passions. You have your passions, I have my passions. Everyone has the things that make them happy. What I would say is what they're doing and what they're buying, is it causing a problem for you financially, or can you still pay your bills? And if you can pay your bills and you still have disposable income later, then there shouldn't be an issue, because he's your husband, he's your partner in life, and you have to support your partner with the things that they find joy in. And I think there's another piece of it that's really specific. Are they displaying it nicely where you can see the collection and you can talk about it and it's conversation pieces? Or is it all just going, mishmash everywhere or in a shed or whatever because there's no room? I think those are two very different things.
So there are boundaries, right? Don't compromise. Don't compromise your finance.
Yeah, don't compromise financials, and make sure that the collection is viewable and able to be seen and can tell a story. And I think that's what's most important, because it's a disservice to the collectibles if they aren't in a space where you can bring others into it to share your joy.
There you go.
What's the point?
But then I'm gonna add, also, I think it needs to be taken in consideration what this collectibles means to you.
Yes,
In
absolutely.
some cases, we walk into these rooms, and at least in my case, but I've seen that, especially when we tape Plastic Crack, I saw that common denominator among collectors. when you walk into that room, you become that 7-year-old kid again. Some of us do, and you unplug from the daily struggle. You become a kid. You go back, and then you go back to reality. Is therapy maybe? It's a sanctuary maybe. So.
Absolutely. I think expressing your love of fandom through your collectibles is definitely a form of therapy. It's definitely something that's very centering. You know, as a person myself that is diagnosed and struggles with an anxiety and depression conditions, I can say that like doing this is something that gives me peace. It gives me, you know, and it does help me. Being able to see all of the amazing things that I have is very centering, you know. And I mean,
you say balance? What about balance? Do you say that it gives you balance, maybe?
I would think so, yeah, definitely. And, you know, there's stuff here that I'm looking at and I'm like, I just love that. You know, it's just, I love it. I love looking at it. Or there's a memory tied to it, you know, all throughout all the shelves, there is stuff. I mean, probably the biggest one is this right here.
The Prisoner of Azkaban.
But the reason is because it is a first edition, and I don't know if you can see. Can you see the edges of the pages don't line up?
Yes, a little bit.
It's because I've read it so much
that
I have to find it. I have to find the big break.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's coming out of its binding because I've read it so much.
It's obviously a very loved book. And,
exactly.
So is that your favorite book out of all of them?
Yes.
Okay, and why is that?
Yeah. I love the character of Sirius Black. He's my favorite character. I love that in 3, they start to become adults and they start to grow as characters, and the story starts to get darker and deeper, and you really start to get into the lore of Harry Potter, and then you get Sirius Black. And so that book just kicked it off for me. Not to mention that the movie is directed by Alfonso Cuarón, who, oh my God, it was so good. But yeah, but the book is great. My favorite film is actually Order of the Phoenix, but my favorite book is
I for me, it was brilliant how she took that character and flipped it over to the way that we ended up loving the character. It was never supposed to be love. It was this character that most of us hated so much, and that twist at the end was a work of brilliance.
Absolutely. I mean, it was just amazing. You know, another one of my like big things is, you can probably see it right here.
A little bit.
Right there. That is the Vault edition of the Jedi Path.
Oh, okay.
And that is, and again, it kind of goes back to that whole memories and things that center you and things that balance you. That book is one of the very first books I reviewed when I was doing a YouTube channel that was just me doing audio book reviews.
Okay.
And it was found by Dan Wallace somehow on the internet, and he emailed me, and that was one of the first interactions I had with somebody from Star Wars, and that was in 2009. You know, so it's just like, it just holds a very special place. So many of the things
that connects to what we're saying. So it gives you balance. Therefore it has to be positive. I'm not trying to raise the propaganda flag like go out and collect. No, but if you happen to be with someone that collects, support that person. Enjoy that. Try to enjoy that. There's a beauty behind it. I think it's even a healthy addiction. It could be worse. It could be drinking in a bar.
Absolutely. I mean, and so many of the things, I mean, if you take the time to look at them, at the things that your partner is collecting, there's detail there and stuff that you can appreciate just on that level. I mean, like, okay, for example, I have this very, very tiny car. Okay, very tiny car. Fits in my hand like this. It's from Cars, but if you look at it, it's got glitter. It is completely metal. All of the details of the face are there. The wheels turn, you know, so it's like there's a lot here. It's very small. It's
work of art.
Yes, it's smaller than the
work of
palm
art.
of my
It took
hand.
a designer, a painter, someone creative to come up with that.
they had to design this in order for it to be,
You have to
awesome.
appreciate that.
And then there's Lightning McQueen, and he's shiny. Yeah, so I have these too.
Nice. Thank you so much, Teresa, for being with us today. I had a blast talking to you. I hope we do this again sometime. I know there's a lot to talk about, but I cannot thank you enough for I know you have a very tight schedule. So thank you so much for opening a gap and talking to us today.
Absolutely, I appreciate it.
Please remember that all of these episodes were taped during the crazy 2020 pandemic while we were all locked down and going nuts. So bear with us. Also, and I found out not so long ago, so don't feel bad, that if you hit the bell below, like the little tiny icon that looks like a bell, YouTube automatically will let you know when the next episode is about to come out. So make it easy, just hit the bell. Like, subscribe, do all of that stuff, but hit the bell. The next episode is gonna be both epic and one of the biggest challenges that we set ourselves to when we were doing Plastic Chats. Eduardo Vila, all the way from Panama, join us to talk about every single country, or at least we think, on the planet that made or distributed G.I. Joe back in the day. This one won't be about the real American hero, but about G.I. Joe, the international heroes. You don't want to miss that one.
Plastic Chats is a series of special interviews that complements the Plastic Crack documentary series. The interviews are made with informational, entertainment, and educational purposes. Neither this short nor Plastic Crack documentary series are sponsored or endorsed by the companies or brands mentioned in this episode. The comments made on this episode do not reflect the point of view of the production company of these series or employees and associates. Help us get found. Click on those 5 stars and stay tuned for the next episode of Plastic Chats.